I'll be ready to start in a few minutes. Welcome, everyone. This is our first. I'll be ready to start in a few minutes. Welcome, everyone. This is all right. Now, this is our first Q&A session where we're going to start the quarter off answering questions um, for government contractors. So, invite everyone into the room. And we're just going to get this party started. Hello, I am your host, Luciana Turner. So let's just end the music. And I'm here. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Oh, wow. It's an amazing. Hope you're having an amazing week, an amazing, and you're have an amazing weekend planned. I'm your host, Luciana Turner, of this Q&A session here. I'm streaming to my YouTube channel and my company Facebook page. Have some technical difficulties streaming to my Facebook group, but that's okay. You know, it is what it is, to do what it do, and we adjust and move on. So, anyway, so the purpose of this evening's live is just essentially to answer questions around government contracting and business. I host a morning show called Contracting Chatter. And during that, one of the episodes, I discussed what was your plan for the evening? What was your plan for this quarter? Do you have a contracting plan in place? And I gave some of the basic steps for creating a contracting plan. Sitting down, taking 90 minutes, I said, who do you want to work with? What does your ideal client do? What is their primary mission goal? How do your services fit those goals? And I wanted you to do something more than the basic throw things at the wall that people like to do. I wanted you to really sit and map it out. And I wanted you to map it out thoroughly. Then I wanted you to put some numbers. What do you want to do? And what do you want to make this quarter? How much money in the terms of revenue are you looking to make this quarter? Are you looking to make 250,000? Are you looking to make 50,000? Are you looking to make a half million? Because if you don't have a money goal, then what are we doing? And now we're sitting here and we're ending the first week of the third quarter of the government fiscal year. Because remember, the government runs off of a fiscal year, not a calendar year. The government year started October 1st, not January 1st. So we're actually in the third quarter of the government's year. So, what is your plan? And how are you going to accomplish this? There are so many things that people overlook when government contracting. So, which is why I decided to host this live. to answer your government contracting questions. Now, when I announced this, I gave people two options. I said, you can either submit your questions via email, or you can just appear live and drop your questions in the chat. And no one emailed any questions. However, because I do what I do and I know what I know, there are always certain questions people have that always pop up in my discovery sessions, or well, when I was holding discovery sessions, that always pop up in my sorry, I'm a little bit distracted here. That always popped up in my client meetings, or anytime I attend any contracting information sessions. And one of them always center around, where do I find contracts? Where are they found? And every government agency posts their procurement opportunities. Every agency uploads a list monthly of what contracts they have available. Actually, on a federal level, they actually do a total contract listing. And on that list, it has every contract out there. I mean, every contract. Open, every contract they have out for bid, every contract that is currently in process and getting ready to end. This is important. And a lot of people sleep on that from planning purposes. You want to keep an eye on those lists. And those lists are important for planning purposes. Even if you're not ready to bid on a contract, say you want to start bidding on contracts next year. I'm developing something called the 365 contract. You're still working your 9 to 5. You want to start bidding on contracts for next year. Those lists are key for preparing your business and positioning your business for the contracts that will come up for recompete in the next cycle. Because every contract on that list, their top or period of performance is on there. And people sleep on that information. I mean, those lists are gold. I mean, I don't understand why. People keep talking about, well, go to Sam's or go to this or go to that. If you don't have the ability to subscribe to these subscription services, and I'm telling you, as your business grow, you really want to get a subscription service, or you want to join something like a service that I offer, where I sit with my client at the beginning of the year. We map out your goals, and I actually have the subscription for you and run the subscription for you, vet your contract offers for you, and send it for you. And where I do the initial screening of your contracting, I do the initial screening for you, and that's something, if you're interested in, we can have a conversation about that. But everybody, those lists are pure gold. That is how you plan. I remember a contract I stalked. You know how I knew about that contract? I downloaded the list. That contract wasn't up for recompete for 3 years, and I stalked that contract for 3 years. I knew who the incumbent was. I studied that company. I learned who the contracting officer was for the government agency. I went to the networking event. I talked to that contracting officer. You have to position your company and yourself as the solution. And you can't do that if you don't know what your client wants. I talk about it in my book, Keys to Government Contracting. How are you positioning yourself as the penicillin if you don't even know what ails your client? You're offering them a band-aid and they need sutures. You're offering them um, a cast for a broken arm and they need their appendix removed. That's because you're not doing the research. And those lists that are on every government agency's website is the beginning of your research. And guess what? I don't have the money. Those lists are free. Just like this Q&A session is free. Now, free will only take you so far, but free will take you a good distance until you can get to the place where you can invest. But those lists are pure gold. So that is a question that I've run into time and time again. How do I find the opportunity? Those are opportunities are on those lists. And they're typically called procurement. They're usually listed under how do I work with your agency or how do I work with the government. Another thing, a lot of agencies want a lot of newbies in the field, and that's whether you've been in business for 1 year or 20 years. Attend the networking events. Now, here's the thing, and what I'm going to say is going to sound a little tongue in cheek. The SBA events are good. However, one event I always attend is the events held by the Department of Transportation. And as you come in the room, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I actually have, because Facebook is Facebook, I have my phone open so I can see the questions being dropped in the chat on Facebook. Because for some reason, Facebook is not allowing the questions to appear in my streaming service. I don't know why. Facebook is just being difficult. I don't know why. Anywho, so if you have questions, drop them in the chat. Drop them, or you can direct message me if you need to, and I will see them and answer those questions for you. Anyway, I always attend Department of Transportation events, sponsored events. And somebody's going to say, but I don't want to bid on federal contracts. Federal money end up in state contracts in some way, shape, or form, which is why if you do not attend federal sponsored events, you're often missing out on state opportunities. People miss that. A lot of state contracts contain federal money. So events are sponsored by federal agencies that flow dollars into state funds or state coffers. You understand what I'm saying? So don't ignore federally sponsored opportunities because you're not looking at federal contracts. On the contrary, attend them. You really want to attend those contracts. You really want to attend those events. And they're very lucrative, they're very informative, they're very eye-opening. You really, really do want to attend those events. Another question that I'm often asked when I meet with people, whether in public or in a one on one session, is about certifications. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're doing government contracting and then I'm one of the very few people you're going to hear this from. Don't worry about getting certified. You should be worried about ensuring you should be worried about your business structures in place. You should be worried about ensuring that all of your systems are there. You should be worried about whether you could submit a bill. Being certified is one of the last things you really, really should be worried about. I mean, it really, and I'm going to tell you, I'm one of the few people that's going to tell you this. You're going to hear people tell you all over the place, get certified. That's one of the last things you should be worried about. I'm going to tell you one of the certifications you should be worried about is the 8A certification. The 8A certification is the most important certification that you will ever have. That is the most important certification. Other than that, I wouldn't worry about it. A question that I don't hear enough and that I will harp on until the cows come home is, how do I ensure I get paid by the government? Everybody wants to write a winning proposal, but nobody seems to want to get paid. Ensure you follow the instructions in the RFP. The RFP, which is why I'm offering a course called Deconstructing the RFP. The RFP actually tells you how to bill the government. So, and I don't understand. Everybody wants to write this winning proposal, but nobody wants to know how to get paid. So, two things. One, learn how to read the proposal. Two, build a solid contracting company. There are steps that you should do before the request for the proposal. That's why I've put together this class called Before the RFP. It is a 6-week or 6-step training. We do cover the proposal response in it. We cover the proposal framework, but I also talk about what you need as a contracting company. I talk about what you need that will enable you to, quite frankly, build the government once you win the award. I talk about passing the desk audit. A lot of people aren't really aware of the fact you can win the award, to win the contract and lose the award. A lot of agencies are doing desk audits. And part of the desk audit is to ensure that you have the capability and the capacity to even perform. So that's one of the things that we're talk about during that training. So there's that. A question that came up in a session that I had with someone was they wanted to know what even went into government contracting. They wanted to know where the pieces fell. That is why on April 19th, I'm doing a training class. It's $47 called Stages of Government Contracting. Point blank simple. We're going through each stage from the beginning to when the contract rests, and we're doing the final negotiations. And during each point, where I'm talking about not only the stage, but your role in that stage and what you should do in that stage. Because every government contractor has a role. There are things you should be doing in every stage. Before you even look for a proposal, there are things you should be doing. There are things you should do while you're seeking a proposal. There are things you should do while you're responding to a proposal. There are things you should be doing while you're waiting on the response for a proposal. We're going to talk about all of that. And each stage or each phase has a name. And you have a responsibility during each part. Now, it's simple $47 for that class. I have a workbook for the participants that you will refer to throughout your contracting career. This session wasn't meant to be a long session. It was just meant to be a session where I answer questions, and I don't see any that have come in. So I just thought I would drop those out there, address those few items. And if you have any questions for me, just feel free to send me an email at contact@LT&A I'm always available. Catch me every morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Contracting Chatter. As I give you tidbits, I'm sorry, I got a little bit distracted. I put my email in the comments. So if you have questions, you can reach out to me there. Take time out and really delve into the classes. Catch me every morning when you can for Contracting Chatter at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I drop various nuggets on government contracting, and I keep you up to date on legislation that is going on. The replays are available on YouTube. All of the replays are on there. I also have a podcast where I bring on various guests, contractors conversation. And if no one have any other questions, this replay will be on my YouTube channel, LT&A Consulting Group. So if we don't have any other questions for the evening. All right. Well, I'm Luciana Turner, your host for this evening's FY2025 Q&A session. Keep in mind that without a good strategy, you're just going to frustrate yourself. So join one or both of my upcoming training classes, Stages of Government Contracting, which is April 19th, where we'll go through each stage of government contracting and your role and responsibility as a government contractor and what you should do during each stage. And then my cohort of Before the RFP. And then I have another class that's coming up after the cohort, which is Decoding the RFP, which is how you break down a proposal into its component parts. So, with that, I say, have an amazing evening, and I will see you Monday morning.